Isle of Iona. Once called E, I was called Iona from the fetal me the mote in an eye, the tittle of an eye, titled anatomic abnormality, mollusk mired in my mother. Gasp of life I land, islanding me. This poem is called Therapy, and it ends abruptly, which surprised me too. When I was 12 and suffering from my first bout of depression, my school sent me to a therapist. On the cusp of a cradle, lip kinking in the hinterland between two states of being, I was seeing a children's counsellor. I remember I would get the bus to Dunbar and walk through the wind with the moon's ghost in the day sky to a building on the rocky coast. It was all wheat cups of tea and biscuits there. Landlines with their spiral cords, that council building carpet smell, and plastic chairs and posters on the wall. Today I feel happy. Today I feel sad. Today I feel angry. I remember I would have to arrange plastic dinosaurs and Playmobil characters with their painted smiles and empty eyes into the shape of my family, my friends. Today I feel lonely. Today I feel sad. This stegosaurus is my dad. This next poem is called Anamnesis, which is a beautiful word, which means memories of a past life. He opened with a kiss, his tongue a little hors d'oeuvre before leaving for the gym. I nibbled it, suddenly overcome with ennui. Is this what it has come to? Exercising on purpose, climbing hills just to climb back down again. Sometimes I feel like a babe station girl, but no one is calling. Someone, please tell me what they want me to do. Sometimes I feel like a video game character, but my player has left the room to make a cheese sandwich. Sometimes I wander aimlessly through Debenhams. I want to feel so alive. I want to own a small fusion restaurant. I want to play the tambourine in a Brian Jonestown Massacre tribute band. I would much rather dance on a pirate ship, the black and pearl drop rain bouncing like a giant's broken necklace all across the deck, than answer the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because honestly, I chiefly see myself 5 years ago. Like if only we could play still, how we did when we were kids. Hold your hand up to your ear. The sea is calling. I can be the mummy, and you can be the daddy, and we can make a palace of this fallen tree. We just need 2 bits of imagination to rub together. Sometimes I think of all the flats that I have lived in. They constitute the shape of times gone by. We mistook the city for a moon, found ourselves enthusiastically blue tacking, making bohemian palaces of whatever squat we'd landed in. Everything smelt new. Sometimes I think that I would do it all again, but shinier. Like how the Renaissance redid the ancient world, or how the 90s did the 60s again, but with ecstasy. The tragic thing is that I quite enjoy yoga. And I can't be fucked with techno anymore. It's odd doing that with the silence at the end. It sort of feels like it's resonating somewhere, hopefully. Simulations. I plug into the wind. Anxiety has been growing up through all of the cracks in me like weeds. I plant cherry trees from the season's expansion pack, gravestones on the suburb of this window-shaped world. My raw little pixel souls behind the liquid crystal. I am the giant face of God tapping on your fishbowl. The night I played Sims 2. Charles Bukowski's life was all airheaded whores who bored him, and 1960s hospitals, and red wine, and shagging. And you can tell because he always made sure to mention it. He wrote on typewriters before typewriters were for wankers. I think it might have been easier to get away with being artistic in the past, back before everything had to be enjoyed ironically. He has a poem called "The Night I Fucked My Alarm Clock." And you could never get away with that kind of sincere posturing these days, but I worry that I mentioned cigarettes a bit too much, and last night I just played The Sims 2 until I fell asleep. The past seems more romantic to me. There was more time to die of syphilis without Wi-Fi, more gazing out of windows. We shall never wander through gardens dripping with ripe metaphors, sighing that we must make war with France. We are not art projects. But I am in the business of romanticizing. When I look at the dark, and it doesn't look back, and I feel overwhelmed by insignificance, writing it nicely pokes holes in the sky so I can breathe. It is like performing to a sold-out empty stadium because whatever the poets tell you, none of this really matters. A 1960s hospital is just a hospital in the 1960s, and most love affairs dribble amiably to an end. In most of Bukowski's poems, nothing actually happens, apart from a vague implication of something profound. He liked to mention typewriters, like I like to take photographs of typewriters and put them online. We are all trying to prove that we do existing devastatingly well. Knock, knock. Excuse me. I am also here. I want an aesthetically pleasing, miserable life that people are jealous of. A life that is a good story to tell. Please stick me on the fridge where everyone can see me. So I am in the paper cave right now, dressed as a car wash. And I think that it looks a bit like an alien forest at nighttime. So I thought I should probably do a poem about a forest at nighttime, which was not difficult for me because about half of my poems are set in a forest. This is called The Big Dark, and it's about a walk I went on in a forest at nighttime on this planet. Time moves differently below the canopy. The forest roof, a cathedral's vaulted ceiling, an upturned longboat, a rib cage spurting off a spine. We entered the little nighttime underneath with reverence. It is a holy house, a hallowed hall, a mouthful of twilight. Walked deep to find the belly, wading in a waterfall I could not see my feet beneath me, sliced off at the ankle. Fish flit like spirits in an echo of the stars. At midnight, in the woodland's tummy, each step is a prayer, each stone a surprise, tapping my toes to test the earth ahead of me, blind and hearing only heartbeat in the absence of a sound. The past was a dark place. Winter would have been a giant sleeping beast, a wood without day dripping in, an uncracked egg. It would have eaten me up. Sometimes you look around as if life had only just occurred to you. I wandered into history down a corridor of trees. One day, in a future so abstract it feels ancient, when all of this recedes to the soil, when the roots rip it up, when the trees take back what is rightfully theirs, there will be no lamps spilling their pale light like waterfalls. Prometheus's gift squandered. I saw all of this as we walked. The big dark ahead of us, and the big dark following behind. So the person or the creature that often lives within the forest is the witch. She lives in a house in the glade within our collective subconscious. So this poem is about a witch. It's called Isabel Gowdy. She was a real woman. She was burned as a witch in the northeast of Scotland, and her confessions are recorded. You can read them. And she said that she would leave a besom, a broom, in bed next to her husband, and would turn into a bird or a hare and would fly off and fornicate with the devil. And she's kind of an idol of mine. She's thought by many to have been a storyteller by trade. What is a dream of the devil in a world where he is real? Semantic fingers are lacing a cage to keep your eyes in. So you call the lighting of a match a work of science? Can you explain to me the trick? What is the meaning of the flame? For there was alchemy or chemistry between us, electricery or electricity. I know what I believe. I want to burn it all, to feel some warmth for once. There was a broom in bed at home, and no one noticing. What then is fire in a world where hell is real? I'm going to take off my car wash because I'm warm. This next poem is called Making Love, and I wrote it the other day. I don't like the phrase making love. I think it's a bit naff. So this is about what they call it in other languages. Damp July. We are making love for something to do. Making love and drinking rum, which is another way of making love. We have been making a lot of love recently. Run out of things to say. To say making love is a bit syrupy, a bit sincere. I want to write cool poems that smoke and wear little leather jackets. French is the language of love, and they call it the little death. Nothing like a little death to make you feel alive. In Czech, they say, I will be, as in, I feel, therefore I am. Some languages call it coming, and some call it going away. In Finnish, we are on fire. Mandarin extinguishes us in its high tide. Make love to me in Bosnian or BSL. Come at me from the side like a hieroglyph. Language is a poor translation. O Library of Alexandria, you burn all my words to the ground. This next poem is called Vive l'Evening, and I wrote it as an ode to the lost festivals of 2020. Long live the smouldering perfume of your dressing-up box. Long live the rose hips thrown at sleeping windowsills under jewelry-eyed skies. Long live the lunatic marzipan moon, the morning severed by half-sleep's languid shadow. Bask in the happy, bee-deep voices that sing. Long live the primrose way to the eternal bonfire. You stopped to cry forever on the cold, hard shoulder of the kitchen floor. Yet here you are, in your purple, your fresh cloud, your special dancing hat. So long live the evenings with wine and wise people, the diamond on vinyl crackling. Let's gather round and warm ourselves on our stories. I just have one last poem, and it's very short. It's called Bouncy Castles. I have to go to classes now so that someone can teach me how to breathe, how to be. My ribcage is big, and flat on my back it blooms and deflates like a bouncy castle. That means you will live a long life, my mum used to say. I like measurements like that. A short 10-minute break, a wee pint, a long life.